What's up, Comic Frontline? It's Mr. J again, and welcome back for another Shannara Chronicles Season 1 episode review. Welcome back. If it looks like I haven't changed, it's because I'm actually reviewing these back to back because the first 4 episodes of the Shannara Chronicles are on the MTV app. Episode 1 and 2, which was the premiere, and episodes 3 and 4. We're going to talk about episode 3 in this review, and that episode is called Fury. And that pretty much just picks up right where we left off in the cliffhanger of episode 2, where a Fury attacks, attacks Will and Amberle, and Manu Bennett steps in, all badass, Al-Anon, and he defeats the Fury, but he gets injured in the process. So, Will and Amberle, who are both still reluctant to kind of accept their destinies. Amberle says, she can't go back to the Elven Kingdom. She's better off she disappears because she feels like she's caused all this trouble with the Elcrease. And Will, he's like, look, I'm going to save Al-Anon, but after that, I'm going to just get you home safely, and then I'm going to go to, the place I was trying to go to before in the beginning to become a healer and all that. So they're both still, in classic hero's journey terms, still resisting the call to adventure, and so they're going out to this place to find this mud, right, that has mystical healing properties. However, Al-Anon just tells them to take him to this druid cave, and the cave itself has, mystical properties. While they're gone, Al-Anon gets healed up. And, he tells them, you need to go straight to the Elven Kingdom, right to the palace, to deal with the whole Elcrease thing. But they're like, no, we're going to heal you. So that they're off to go get the mud. Unfortunately for them, they end up getting captured by Eritrea, the rover girl we met in episodes 1 and 2. And they get brought to Eritrea's rover camp, where they meet her father. And her father tries to trick Will into teaching him how to unlock the Elven Stones and how to use them, even though Will himself doesn't know how to use them. And they're also trying to basically set up that Eritrea is going to threaten to kill, or at least put on a convincing enough show to kill Amberle, so that it can convince Will to, give them what they want. However, tables turn on them when Will tries to warn them about, demons could be following them, and they don't believe in them, obviously, because, demons and magic are still a myth at this point, even though clearly Eritrea's father believes in magic because he wants the power of the elf stones. And actually, we see some good in Eritrea, at least a little bit of it, when she's like, I'll give you, you can either face me and we've been in battle to death and you can die, or I can let you punch me in the face really hard and you can make a run for it and you'll live. And of course she says, I'm not leaving without Will. So she tries to bargain with Eritrea's father, saying, I'll kill your daughter if you don't, let Will and myself go. And obviously, like, Eritrea's father is shown to be a complete heartless asshole. He gives no fucks about his daughter. And he's like, go ahead, do it. And that's when another Fury comes after, Will and Amberle, and of course attacks the rover camp. And, to save Amberle, Will actually manages to tap into the power of the elf stones, and there's this really epic scene where he basically fries the Fury. It's pretty awesome, pretty cool. They managed to escape after that from the rover camp, and thanks to Al-Anon also showing up and helping them out there. And of course, when they make it back to the Elf Kingdom, Amberle and Will say their goodbyes, because obviously Will's like, my promise to you was that I'd get you home safely. After that, I'm going to, go study to be a healer. She says goodbye, but then they also meet along the way. They meet this kid, this other person, and he's chained up in this cellar, and Al-Anon can't read his mind, so he says this kid either has magic or he isn't aware that he has magic. And this kid, when they bring him to the Elven Kingdom, in the court with them, he starts to have visions, and he has visions of Amberle dying and stuff like that. So he tries, as Will's attempting to leave the Elf Kingdom, the kid, or not the kid, he's not a kid, he's the same age as them, but the guy is like, look, Will, if you don't go with Amberle to Safehold, terrible things will happen. You need to protect her, stuff. And then he's like, wait a minute, how the hell do you know about Safehold? Because Alanol was the only one that told Will about the thing with the seed and having to. Him and Amberle are the ones that are going to be destined to bring the seed to Safehold so that the Elcrease can be reborn again. But somehow this guy that they just randomly picked up on the way to the Elven Kingdom knows about it. So we don't know much about him, but that's a pretty interesting twist. So that convinces Will that he does need to stick around and protect Amberle and join her on the quest. So when Amberle is trying to convince the Elven Council that she does need to continue her duty for the Elcrease because she's seen the demons and she's seen magic, the king's son, her uncle, like he basically is trying to throw the king and Amberle under the bus, saying like, no, my father told all of us that magic and demons were all just fairy tales, and now he's claiming the exact opposite. How are we supposed to believe that? How do we know this isn't the other races just trying to undermine us? And how are we supposed to trust Amberle when obviously Amberle isn't dedicated to her duties because she ran away the first time? I have a gut feeling that the uncle is obviously like underlying the evil when he's trying to usurp the power from his father. But that's just me. I've read way too many fantasy books not to see this coming. Even though I have not read the Shannara Chronicles books, but don't spoil it for me if you've read the Shannara Chronicles books. So yeah, that happens. Will actually gives a convincing speech about why Amberle should be here and why she should be given the task and how brave she is to even still be here and how she's inspired him to continue on his quest. And Alanon reveals to the others in the Elven Council that Will is the last son of the Shannara bloodline, and the Shannara bloodline is an ancient elven bloodline of kings and warriors. Apparently, Shannara was the first elven king to unite all the four lands together with his magic, so that's really cool. And the episode ends with Amberle being accepted, and so now the final test to get the seed is for Amberle to enter the tree and for the tree to determine if she's worthy or not. And that's where the episode ends. A lot of great setup. We got more development for our characters, a little bit more development for Eritrea. Will is we get to see a little bit more of Will's powers. Will and Amberle are both accepting their destinies. Manu Bennett still being awesome and wise and badass. And more world building, which is still really cool. And again, the opening sequence for the show is really good. Visually, it looks stunning. I am still hooked on this show, and I think I will still definitely be hooked for more to come. Very much looking forward to see what happens next with our wayward band of heroes. And let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like this video. Let me know you enjoyed it. Subscribe to Comic Frontline if you haven't already. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and listen to our live show, Frontline Live, on iTunes. We are also proud members of the Comics Podcast Network, so don't forget to check us out on there. And if you like what I did here on Comic Frontline, and you want to see more from me personally, you can always check out my individual channel, Mr. J's Comic Reviews. I'll leave a card annotated somewhere up here. And you can also find my channel on the side of Comic Frontline's main channel YouTube page, and it has all the members' channels listed on the side there. You'll find me there. And definitely check me out if you feel so inclined. I'd really appreciate it. So, this is Jay from Mr. J's Comic Reviews for Comic Frontline. Until next time, I'll catch you next week with the episode 4 Shannara Chronicles review. Until next time, guys, I'll catch you later. Peace.